The Southern Command.
What does Southern Command have to do with this?
El vínculo, Ford, que era embajador de Estados Unidos,
The link that Ambassador Ford, who was the ambassador from the United States before Lawrence,
me prohibía la amistad con Chávez,
he said that I could not have a friendship with Hugo Chavez.
quería que le diera asilo diplomático a Posada Carriles,
He wanted me to give political exile to Posada Carriles.
quería ponerme los ministros del gabinete de gobierno,
He wanted to name who my ministers of the cabinet of my government should be.
quería que los recomendados de él fueran ministros.
He wanted his recommendations to become ministers of my government.
Posada Carriles, he wanted him to be able to take refuge in Honduras. The man who is alleged to be the mastermind behind the Cubana bombing that killed
acusado de matar mucha gente en Cubana aerolíneas, etc.
A los 8 días de haber tomado posesión del gobierno,
After 8 days of my becoming president of the country,
el embajador Charles Ford
the ambassador Charles Ford
me preguntó
asked me
si yo podía darle asilo político
if I
a
could
Posada
give
Carriles en Honduras.
if I could give political asylum to Posada Carriles in Honduras.
Y desde luego lo mandé para afuera porque
And of course I sent him to outside.
él habló con mi canciller para eso.
He spoke to my foreign minister, my secretary of state about that.
Es el mismo embajador
This same ambassador
que me prohibió sumarme a la ALBA.
who prohibited me from becoming a member of the ALBA.
Y ahora este embajador, después que salió de Honduras,
And this ambassador who just left Honduras,
que dejó una carta de un perfil político de este servidor suyo,
who left the country with a political profile of myself,
que ahí el que lee ese perfil sabe que viene un golpe de Estado.
Ford dejó eso, ¿verdad?
Sí.
The ambassador Ford left this letter as a profile of the president, and when you read it, you can tell that
Lo
it is the
publicó-
precursor of the coup itself.
Lo publicó Wikileaks,
WikiLeaks published this
publicó
document.
todo el perfil que él dejó de mi persona.
They published the profile that Ambassador Ford made of me to give to Hugo Lawrence,
Diciendo que Estados Unidos tiene que ver qué va a pasar, qué va a hacer el otro año.
saying that the United States needs to make decisions about what it will do the following year
Para detenerme,
in order to detain me,
porque yo estoy vinculado al narcotráfico,
because I am tied to narco trafficking
al terrorismo y a todo un
and
montón de
to
cosas.
terrorism and to many other things.
Él preparó el ambiente
So he prepared the ambient situation.
y él fue trasladado de la embajada
And
al Comando Sur.
And he was transferred from where? From the embassy to the Southern Command.
Es el vínculo.
And that is the tie.
Y si usted pregunta
And if-
hoy
and
dónde
if-
está,
and-
está en el Comando Sur.
And if you ask today, where is this Ambassador Ford? He is in the Southern Command.
De aquí salió a preparar el golpe de Estado.
And so he left here in order to prepare the coup d'etat.
And yet the coup d'etat took place under President Obama,
Pero-
not before.
El hecho es que ocurrió bajo el presidente Obama y no antes.
Bueno, que la conspiración, estamos hablando de Estados Unidos.
We're talking about the United
Es un
States.
imperio Estados
So
Unidos.
it's an empire. The United States is an empire, and so
Obama es el presidente de Estados Unidos,
Obama is the president of the United States.
pero no es el jefe del imperio.
But he is not the chief of the empire.
Aunque Obama estuviera opuesto,
Even though Obama would be against the
el
coup,
proceso del golpe iba.
the process toward the coup was already moving forward.
Lo más que le informan a un presidente como el presidente Obama es que hay una crisis política.
The most that they tell a president like President Obama that there's a political crisis going on,
Pero no los detalles de lo que estaban haciendo para la
but they do
conspiración.
not talk about the details that they were involved in terms of the conspiracy.
President Obama early on called it a coup.
El presidente Obama inmediatamente lo declaró como golpe.
But then
Pero después-
the administration seemed to back off, both he and Hillary Clinton.
Después su gobierno, tanto él como Hillary Clinton, se
rindieron ante el golpe.
They gave themselves up before the coup itself.
Esa es la prueba
That
que el golpe estaba dado desde allá.
that is the proof, in fact, that the coup came from the north, from
Que
the
le
U.S.
doblan el brazo al presidente y al Departamento de Estado.
So they are even able to bend the arm of the president of the United States, President Obama, and the State Department, and they impeded my restitution as president of the country.
Ousted President Manuel Zelaya, sitting in his home in his living room in Tegucigalpa for the first time in 23 months. Kidnapped at gunpoint by Honduran soldiers as his daughter Pichu hid under her bed upstairs. He was then flown to Palmerola, the U.S. military base in Honduras, supposedly to refuel, and then on to Costa Rica. It was the first military coup in Latin America in more than a quarter of a century. We leave you today with Zelaya's address to tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of Hondurans upon his arrival home on Saturday.
La presencia de ustedes esta tarde demuestra.
Your presence here this afternoon shows the support of the international community, that the blood was not shed in vain, because we're still standing, keeping our position valid.
Estamos en pie de lucha, manteniendo nuestras posiciones vigentes. Resistencia pacífica, compañeros.
Peaceful resistance. Fellows, resistance is today the cry of victory, of the return to Honduras of all the rights and guarantees of the Honduran democracy.
Tomorrow, in part 2 of our interview, President Zelaya will talk about his plans for the future. We'll also speak with his wife, former First Lady of Honduras, Xiomara Castro de Zelaya. We ask her if she plans to run for president next. Special thanks to Democracy Now!'s Hani Massoud for his remarkable camera work, and Andres Tomas Canteras for translating, and to both for making this broadcast possible. Also thanks to Channel 11 in Tegucigalpa.